What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. To be completely honest, this kind of scenario is something that I never really wanted to do. At least at first. It's kind of a weird concept and I've seen others like it before and they're not really my cup of tea. But I have gotten a lot of suggestions for this one. And you all know, I'm a man of the people. And given how much this was suggested, not only on my channel but outside of it, I decided I may as well take it into my hands. And even though I do see the concept as kind of fanfiction-y, I feel like I can get around that in a really simple way. One that surprisingly would make a lot of sense. At least as much sense as Chi-Chi becoming a Saiyan could make. Since I'm not too sure about continuing this, let's set a like goal of 3,500 likes. If we hit that like goal, I'll continue with another part of this series. Anyways, let's begin this story. So this whole scenario circles around the idea that Chi-Chi becomes a Saiyan. And that's a very important distinction. It's not that she starts out as one, but she becomes one. Through a wish specifically. This is actually a pretty popular trope that I've seen. Scenarios where Shenron is used to power someone up by chaining them into a Saiyan or something else. And that's what we'll do here. So how does this wish actually start? Well, let's actually discuss the time period first. Let's say this is during the time skip between the 23rd World Tournament and the Saiyan Saga. By this point, Goku and Chi-Chi are married, and they've already had Gohan. So all of you Gohan fans that are concerned about him becoming a pure Saiyan, not staying a hybrid Saiyan, he's gonna stay a hybrid Saiyan. But of course, over this time skip, Chi-Chi would begin to know Goku a lot better. And while we didn't really see this in the manga, a lot of filler in the anime actually showed that Chi-Chi really wanted to be the perfect wife to Goku. And we'll be using that in this scenario. She feels that maybe she can get to understand Goku more if she were more like him. But they're not really too sure how to do that. Goku then jokes about how they can ask Shenron. Maybe he can tell her everything she needs to know about him. It's a pretty clear joke, but she thinks it's actually a pretty good idea. They basically missed everything about each other's lives, since they only reconvened back at the 23rd World Tournament and missed everything before that. Shenron could actually help them catch up, even if it's not the most romantic and genuine way. Goku says he was just joking, but hey, if that's what she wants to do, he's happy with it too. They gather their Dragon Balls and summon Shenron, and this is where things get messy. The two of them are thinking about how to phrase the wish, but the two of them aren't really that careful with their words. As they're deliberating what to say, Chi-Chi says that she wishes she were more like Goku. It would be a lot easier that way to understand him. Shenron hears this and wants to clarify.
So, you want to be a Saiyan?
Goku doesn't understand Shenron's question. She's saying she wants to be more like me.
Yes, so a Saiyan.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. I hope you like that really bad pun because that's the basis of this entire scenario. Shenron understands the wish that Chi-Chi wants to be like Goku, a Saiyan. They weren't careful with their words, and he grants the wish. And Chi-Chi wonders what just happened. They're both confused as Shenron disappears. And Goku says he must have granted the wish. She doesn't feel too different, but they trust Shenron's judgment. Whatever he did must have helped her understand Goku better. But then she feels something weird. And then Goku shouts as he sees. She now has a tail. They now realize what Shenron did. Goku obviously doesn't know what a Saiyan is yet, but whatever Shenron did, it turned her into the same monkey person that Goku is. It's just like how he had a tail as a kid, and how Gohan has one. But by now it's too late. Shenron is already gone, and even if they wanted to, they couldn't really reverse the wish. It looks like they're gonna have to wait another year to do that. Now the two of them are just confused. It looks like they will have to do it the old-fashioned way after all. But now Chi-Chi has to deal with having a tail. He asks though, does she feel any different in any way? Not really, but she does know one thing. It's been a while since they've sparred. It would be pretty fun if they fought. You know, for old time's sake. Well, of course Goku's not going to turn down the fight, so the two of them decide to spar, with Gohan and Ox King watching. It seems more changed than just her tail. Over this time skip, more continues to change. Chi-Chi's whole demeanor is different. She has more of a fighting spirit than she did before, thanks to now actually being a Saiyan unknowingly. And while she does want Gohan to grow up as a scholar, she also thinks it might be a good idea for him to fight. It could teach him a lot of discipline and he can get stronger, just like them. It wouldn't be too hard for him to get a schedule, balancing work and life. So she's not actually opposed to him fighting, which is great because Goku thought the exact same thing. And because of this, Gohan's gonna grow up a lot less passive than before. He still is more gentle-natured at heart, but he gets some experience fighting earlier on, with him learning the basics of martial arts from his parents. The time skip eventually ends though, and we get to the reunion at Kame House. Goku suggests that Chi-Chi should come along. Roshi would love to see their growth. It would be nice to show his old master how much they've trained together. They would bring Ox King along too, but the Nimbus Cloud only fits so many people. Especially with his size, that's not really gonna work. But he's fine staying back. He tells them to say hi to Roshi for him, as the family of three heads off. Not only is the group confused to see that Goku now has a kid, but they're more confused to see that Chi-Chi now has a tail. Okay, how did that happen? Well, the two of them sheepishly explain what happened. They're not really too sure either. It was a mishap with Shenron. But it did help them understand each other better. The relationship is already fine regardless. But here, they just attribute that to Shenron. Chi-Chi now really understands Goku's fighting spirit, and isn't too sure why, but they're gonna come to learn that soon. Raddus eventually does arrive on Earth, encountering Piccolo and eventually going over to Kame House. He's glad to finally see his younger brother, but something catches his eye. He's not the only Saiyan there, it appears. Goku's confused. This gives him deja vu to before when Shenron kept saying that, but Raddus explains further, and Goku realizes his mistake. That's what Shenron was asking. Accidentally, they turn Chi-Chi into a Saiyan. But it's probably not the best idea to explain that to Raddus now. He's just wondering how another Saiyan got here. Sure, he knows how the kid got there. He doesn't need any of the details of that. But as for the woman, he wasn't aware of any female Saiyan being sent here. Maybe it's just a coincidence and the two of them were sent here at the same time. But whatever, this is actually better. Raddus doesn't know that Shenron granted a wish, but he tells Vegeta and Nappa on a scouter, there is another Saiyan here. Plus a child that they assume is a pure Saiyan. A total of 3 on this planet that could help them. But of course Goku's not going to join him, nor is Chi-Chi or Gohan. This eventually leads to Raddus kidnapping Gohan, causing them to chase him down. Let's actually discuss power levels here now, because yes, there is a bit of a change here. Significant enough to change this arc. Goku's actually much stronger than normal. He hasn't been slacking off. Sure, he may have not been training as much as before, but he's training way more than he did in canon, thanks to Chi-Chi being there. His power right now is 540, with Chi-Chi actually pretty close behind at 520. Piccolo and Krillin would remain the same, with them around 400 and 200 respectively, but as for Gohan, he's much stronger too. The main difference is he actually knows how to fight here, having at least some basic knowledge. Of course he has a kid so his power level isn't too high, but it's at 50, which is way more than even an average person would be at. It seems low in comparison to the others, but it's actually pretty massive. And since this is still basically the same Gohan, you bet he's going to have a rage boost, and they're not going to be pretty considering how strong he is now. As Raddus flies off with Gohan, Gohan struggles to escape, trying to fight but he isn't really strong enough. As he squirms in his uncle's arms, he eventually gets angry enough to release himself, surprising Raddus. Raddus checks his scouter and Gohan's power really shot up. 2,000? There's no way. Gohan starts pummeling Raddus, hitting him with multiple attacks. It actually injures Raddus a good bit, with Raddus flung down into the ground, but Raddus has a quick counterattack, knocking Gohan out of the sky, catching him as he falls unconscious. He's not too sure what that was, but it was pretty scary. But this also really helps slow Raddus down, and he eventually sees Goku, Chi-Chi, and Krillin catch up to him. Yes, Krillin came along this time, and surprisingly Piccolo's there too, because he made an alliance with everyone. Krillin thinks that since there's 3 other people going along, he may as well help too. The bigger the group, the better. They wonder why Raddus looks injured, but Chi-Chi also sees that Gohan's injured, and she's not happy at all. She's the first one to jump into the fight, immediately attacking Raddus as he has a tough time dodging. He's already a bit beaten up after fighting Gohan. But now there's this. Goku jumps in too, followed by Piccolo and Krillin. They're actually making a lot of progress here. Combined, and with Raddus being weakened, they give him a pretty tough time. Almost too tough of a time. It makes him desperate. In his hands, he quickly creates a fake moon, throwing it into the sky. He knows that the other 2 with tails might transform, but it'll at least help him against the other 3. Kakarot doesn't have a tail, and the other 2 people are a human and a Namekian. This might give him an advantage. He looks up at the moon, turning into a great ape. All this chaos even causes Gohan to wake up, and the first thing he sees is a fake moon in the sky. Chi-Chi even turns around to see what Raddus did, accidentally causing her to transform too. Goku, Piccolo, and Krillin immediately realize that this is pretty bad. Raddus just transformed, and so did Goku's wife and son. I mean, he's seen his wife angry before, but not like this. This is terrifying. And even with them transforming, Raddus is still much stronger, and the 3 of them need to come up with a plan. Thankfully, Chi-Chi and Gohan try and hold Raddus off. Obviously, they're not in the right state of mind right now, but Raddus is the biggest target and it catches their attention even though they're enraged. So thankfully, they're attacking the right person. Krillin says that they should cut off everyone's tails. That's how they got Goku to de-transform as a kid, so maybe that'll work here. It's a bit fuzzy for Goku, but it makes sense after what Roshi just told him at Kame House about him turning into a great ape as a kid. That explains those times that he woke up without a tail, and why Kami removed his. First, they aim for Raddus. Krillin's been working on a good technique to cut stuff, but it's not really perfected yet. It's his Kienzan, but without much practice, it's not too easy to aim, and it's not something that he can curve around at will. But still, it may have enough power to slice Raddus' tail off. He just needs a good shot, and attacking with Goku and Piccolo will really help. It takes some time since it's still new, but he charges a Kienzan, throwing it at Raddus. Just as he feared, Raddus was quick enough to dodge it, jumping up into the air. But as the Kienzan flies away, it's suddenly hit by another beam, one of Goku's bending Kamehamehas. He uses it to direct the Kienzan back towards Raddus. and by the time Raddus sees it, it's too late. Goku curves the Kamehameha up towards Raddus, propelling the Kienzan right into his tail. It's a clean hit. Raddus' tail is sliced off. But there's still the issue of Chi-Chi and Gohan, who immediately go to crush Raddus, as he's stepped on by a great ape Gohan. That's kinda gruesome, but at least they won't have to worry about him anymore. Still, these two are an issue, but they're easier to take out. They're not as strong as Raddus and can't really control themselves, so hitting them with a Kienzan won't be hard. Unlike Raddus, who has control of his great ape, they can't outmaneuver this. Together, they work to slice the tails off. Piccolo's able to personally go over and grab one of them, holding it out so Krillin can cut it off. So that solves that issue, but it appears Raddus is actually still alive. He's pretty badly beaten, crushed into the ground, but still alive. And of course, with him being crushed, his scouter was crushed too. He can't move, but he says one thing: the Saiyans will arrive soon, avenging his death. He laughs as he fades out of consciousness, dying on the ground. Okay, well, that was a pretty weird reunion between everyone. Eventually, Chi-Chi and Gohan wake up, and Goku explains everything that happened. She's pretty mad that her tail is gone, and that her clothes were destroyed, but after hearing more, she realizes what happened. Well, it seems like the tail was a burden, so at least it's not an issue anymore. Maybe. There's still a chance that it can grow back like it did for Goku. Chi-Chi and Gohan were also pretty injured from this fight, but that's actually a good thing. After they eventually heal, they do get power boosts. Krillin pulls Goku and Chi-Chi aside and talks to them. It was a pretty dangerous wish. Who knows what being a Saiyan will do to her? They have to be really careful with what they wish for. And the two of them realize that now. They didn't know either, and they can always reverse it later on. But maybe it's good to keep it for now. If she's a Saiyan, that means she's a lot stronger, and it could help them when the Saiyans arrive. So it's best to actually keep her the way as she is right now. Plus, she doesn't really mind. It might actually be cool being a Saiyan, as long as they work around that entire transforming into a great ape thing. But now, everyone needs to train for the Saiyans. Piccolo's still enemies with everyone, but he decides it might be better to join them. It is an enemy of my enemy situation, so it's best to have allies. Some of the humans go train with Kami, while Goku, Gohan, and Chi-Chi train together, with Piccolo there to help. Those three are the strongest right now, so it's best that Gohan sticks with them. He seems to have a lot of potential. They all sensed something weird when they were trying to chase Raddus. His power soared for some reason, and they don't know why. Gohan doesn't really know why either. It's a bit fuzzy, but he does remember attacking Raddus. Somehow he overpowered him, and the only thing he remembers is Raddus shouting the number 2000. Does that have to do with that power level thing from before? But that wouldn't make sense. When Raddus was reading everyone's power level, there's no way that Gohan could be that strong, right? Regardless, it's a good idea to train him, even if he doesn't have some weird hidden power that they don't know about. He definitely does have some potential as a fighter. Even though he's young, he could help. Roshi even steps in to help too. It has been a while since he's fought, but he's never stopped training. He can help teach Gohan some more, as well as helping against the Saiyans. Meanwhile, out in space, Vegeta and Nappa are on their way over. They're still a while out, but they're wondering what happened. First of all, Raddus getting beat is a pretty big deal. He was weak, but he shouldn't have been weak enough to be defeated by Earthlings. But even weirder is what he mentioned about another Saiyan. Not only was there a Saiyan child there, but there was a Saiyan woman. There goes all their hopes of having a hybrid Saiyan on Earth. If there were one, he probably would have been really strong, but it seems like that child is just a regular pure Saiyan. Of course, Kakarot had to marry the one other Saiyan on Earth. But is that actually the case? Vegeta begins thinking. He doesn't remember any other Saiyans being sent to Earth. He only knows that Kakarot was sent there to be safe, due to what Raddus told him. Sure, there could have been another Saiyan that had their child escape to Earth somehow, but that doesn't really seem too likely, because she seemed pretty normal. Well, normal for Earthling standards. Rather than being a murderous Saiyan, she was pretty gentle, until Gohan was attacked. But still, if she were a regular Saiyan, wouldn't she go around genociding everyone? Of course they know Kakarot hit his head and that's what made him turn good, but did the same happen to Chi-Chi? That seems really weird. Like, what are the odds of another Saiyan being sent away to the same exact planet to be safe, and hitting their head as a kid, turning good? Something doesn't really add up here. It is just a theory, but Raddus did know that there was a Namekian there. They know the Namekians have some weird magical properties, so maybe he has something to do with it. Could it be something to do with the weird wish orbs that they have? Nah, no way. That sounds even weirder. No way that they have those on Earth. But still, something about this whole situation doesn't really sit right with Vegeta. It doesn't matter though. They're all gonna die soon enough anyways, so they won't need to think about it. Maybe while they're there though, they can just ask them face to face. As everyone continues preparing on Earth, Vegeta and Nappa get closer and closer. This is where we'll leave off for now. So, what do you guys think about this scenario? I think it is a pretty weird one, but I feel like the way I made it happen works pretty well, considering the odd circumstances around it. What do you think will happen next? and what may happen going forward. Leave any thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'll be sure to check them out to see what you guys think. As always, if you like the video, be sure to drop a like, and let's try to hit that like goal from the beginning of the video so we can get another part of this series. If you haven't already, why not subscribe, as well as hitting the bell icon to get notified about any future parts of this What If, or any other videos that I upload on my channel. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.